we just got news that the White House is suing. The White House is suing New York City because of the violations when it comes to its sanctuary status. So this is kind of a big deal. And Eric Adams, even though he was sort of a favorite, right, of the White House, and he was getting attacked by everyone in the liberal media because he seemed a little cozier, he allowed for ICE to come into Rikers, for example. Well, still, the fact that they are allowing that sanctuary status is a big deal for the Trump administration, because they're saying we're not going to allow any city to do this. So this story, just breaking moments ago, here we go, in the New York Times, the Trump administration is suing New York City over its sanctuary city laws. The mayor, Eric Adams, who had been spared from a corruption investigation, they're saying because, he was helping the administration, there were all those allegations. They were saying, oh, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. He's actually among the defendants there. But the fact that New York City has decided to institute all of these sanctuary laws now puts them at odds with the federal government. And it makes sense because, I'm going to go back to some of the things that we've talked about before vis-a-vis the Constitution and the fact that, you've got the Supremacy Clause, you've got the Commerce Clause, you've got the Migration Clause, you've got the Foreign Affairs and National Sovereignty Clause, and all of these clauses collectively mean the United States federal government is in charge of immigration. And so if Congress rules that you need to come here legally and have your passport stamped and the proper documentation and a visa if you need it, etc., that's Congress that makes that decision. It is not New York City. It is not Los Angeles. It is not Boston. It is not Dallas. It is not Chicago. Even though all of these people, for whatever reason, seem to think they can operate as little islands unto themselves. No is the answer. And you know what? You heard earlier from Letitia James. I want to play this again for you because she was getting challenged on this issue. She doesn't want anything to do with Donald Trump. For sure, she sees this somehow as a win, which it's not. But here she is joining the likes of Brandon Johnson in Chicago, who thinks he can make up the Constitution, that the Constitution is irrelevant for him. Letitia James saying we're not going to cooperate at all because we don't believe they're actually going after people that are criminals. When in fact, if you listen to Tom Homan and you look at their records, they absolutely are. Here's Letitia.
Voters make a distinction, a lot of them, and the polls show it, between undocumented immigrants without criminal records, people you're talking about, and those who have them, right? Especially in these extreme cases, like we look at in this case in New York City. But to that point, in this case, why should those voters think that this is something other than the system not working? I mean, if you're talking about waiting for comprehensive immigration reform, I've been in Washington for 20 years, and they've been trying for a long time. It doesn't happen, right? So why, in the case of cities taking a step and states taking a step, is this an example where there could be that coordination instead of waiting decades for Congress to act?
At the outset, I indicated to you that, in fact, New York State and other Democratic states cooperate with ICE when it comes to criminal convictions. But when it comes to innocent individuals who serve as your nanny, who clean your home, individuals who are our neighbors, individuals who unfortunately are just trying to make ends meet.
Both of these individuals had multiple arrests after deportation orders. Why are those not opportunities?
And that is why in the state of New York, when it comes to individuals, as you indicated, individuals with criminal convictions, then we cooperate with ICE.
No, but she actually doesn't. And that's what the reporter is trying to say to her from CNN. In these particular cases, you have two individuals that did have these criminal convictions and you guys didn't cooperate. So why didn't you cooperate? And she just doubles down on her humanitarian thing. Well, look, this woman, I mean, she's got to go. She's ignoring Iran sanction violations because she's got to go after Trump and get Trump. She's ignoring federal law. And now New York City is sued by White House over sanctuary status. And that is a big deal. Okay, that's a big deal. So New York City, now in the hot seat, Eric Adams is the first. And you know what? He's not going to be the last. You know how I know he's not going to be the last? Because I saw what Brendan Johnson was saying just the other day, and I want to play this one for you. We talked about this recently. This guy, he doesn't care. He doesn't care what the Constitution says. He's like, we're not going to help in any way, shape, or form because we are Chicago.
Division. Look, we are a welcoming city ordinance. Our local police department will not ever cooperate with ICE. Whatever their constitutional authority is.
Whatever their constitutional authority is? So what are you guys trying to do? What do you want, like civil war? You want to sit there and say, we don't believe in the Constitution. We're going to do our own thing here in Chicago. We're going to do our own thing here in New York. And we don't care about the Constitution of the United States of America, which, by the way, is coming up on its 250th anniversary. Thank you very much. We're a pretty good place, right? They want to tear it up, rip it up, just say open borders? Why? Who's going to pay for it? I'm here in Ireland, and you know what? Ireland's a pretty special place, and they've had a very successful economy, but they're dealing with similar issues as well, because guess what? The UK has been sending everybody in, and you got a very porous border between Northern Ireland, which is still part of the UK, and the Republic of Ireland in Southern Ireland. And so now all of a sudden, all these people are coming in, and folks are getting frustrated. Talked to a guy just this week who said, you know what? It's not right. It's not right because they're able to collect all of these benefits. They have a very generous benefit system here, and they're not working. And this is kind of at odds with who we are as a culture. So they're not happy about it. You go around Europe, right? You look at what's happened in Germany. You look at what's happened in Sweden. You look at what just happened in France. We got breaking news within the hour that Macron has just announced that he is going to be recognizing Palestine. He may be trying to detract from the lawsuit he's got against Candace Owens, he and his wife. Oh, that's a doozy. Good luck on that, Candace. Anyway, like I said, libel is a pretty serious thing, even for politicians. And so as much as we all appreciate free speech, you got to take all of those things into consideration. I would say this, though. New York City cannot continue to flagrantly just violate the law and sit there with a smile on their face and think it's all good. I mean, to think that up until this election, up until Trump was elected in November, they were still handing out little credit cards for $300 and some odd a week for ethnically appropriate food while you stayed at the Roosevelt Hotel, which used to be like a 5-star hotel. It was a beautiful, beautiful place back in the day. Even 20 years ago, it was quite beautiful. With your daily maid service. I mean, what is that about? What is it about? In all seriousness, sadly, I think we know because this representative from Brooklyn laid it all on the line. Here it is again. This lady, she let it slip. It's about redistricting. It's about politics. Don't kid yourself.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here.
Wow. Okay, so that's it. Well, guess what? New York City is in a lot of trouble now. So they are getting sued. And again, I just go back to what is the goal here? What is Brandon's goal? What is Letitia's goal? What is Michelle Wu in Boston's goal? I mean, other than, okay, they want some redistricting. What is the goal right now? Other than we're going to just resist Donald Trump. We're just going to resist. You want this to go all the way to the Supreme Court? Because it will. And you know what's going to happen at the Supreme Court? The Supreme Court is going to say, hey, you guys, it turns out there is this thing called the Constitution. Let's see if I can get this one up for you. Yeah, the Constitution. We got all kinds of powers, shall we say, in the Constitution that allow for the federal government to have control over immigration. The Foreign Affairs and National Sovereignty Implied Powers Clause. I mean, this was actually discussed as recently as 2012 in Arizona, and it affirmed that, guess what? The feds have the power over immigration. And then there's this one, the Migration Clause. Okay, so the Migration and Importation Clause, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 1, and it actually is a derivative of back, during the slave trade in 1808, and they wanted to make sure that anybody who came here after emancipation was indeed an American citizen. So that's a big part of it. And then you've got this one right here. Okay, the Supremacy Clause, constitutional basis for federal power over immigration, necessary and proper clause, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18, to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers. Well, that kind of says it all, right? And that allows for Congress to pass immigration laws as needed to enforce its enumerated powers, like naturalization, like commerce. And then you've got the Commerce Clause as well. Let's see this one. This is my favorite. You know what? Commerce Clause, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. The Congress shall have power to regulate commerce with foreign nations. And that's interpreted as being, okay, because we have the power to regulate power or, commerce, I should say, with foreign nations. Therefore, it also relates to immigration. Again, Congress makes the laws. And then the president is in charge of actually enforcing them. I mean, didn't Barack Obama do this? Obama actually enforced them. And, for whatever reason, it was allowed then, because back in the day, the Democrats actually didn't believe in open borders. Back in the day, you had the likes of Dianne Feinstein saying we're not going to become the welfare state for Mexico. The feds have all the power here. So you know what? Like, Letitia, you can say whatever you want. It's not going to fly. And now that we're in a situation where, in fact, they are suing the city of New York, it's game over. It'll go to the Supreme Court and you'll lose. And then what? What's your goal at that point? I mean, I realize this is all about getting elected, right? If she actually wanted to do her job, she'd do things like actually not allow a foreign country to launder money and get petrodollars to send it to Iran right in her jurisdiction in New York. But she's not interested in doing her job. She's just interested in going after Trump. It tells you everything that you need to know about Letitia James. And this is one of the major reasons I predict she's going down. The whole lot of them are going down. It is good to have you guys all here. I'm just looking at some of your comments right now in the live show. You can see it's dark out. Gosh, the sun's been going down, but it's late here in Ireland. It's like 10 o'clock. Peace of my mind. Good to see the sun is going down in Ireland. You saw the same thing as well. Yeah, late here. I saw your stuff on, I see what you guys are writing about France. Yeah, I think that Candace is going to have some issues on that front, shall we say. That's going to be quite a lawsuit. We'll keep an eye on that one. Anyway, it's great to have you all here. Unc Andy, so many, Luke Walker, welcome back. Good to have you here. A lot of familiar faces, of course. Scott as well. Rosie must be down. Did something happen with your internet? Oh, no. Oh, well, in the beginning, right? Yeah, in the beginning. Maybe Rosie was messing with it. You got to be careful. Rosie O'Donnell. I'm hoping I don't see her. I'm really hoping I don't see her. If I do, I'll let you know. I'll have to give her a piece of my mind. Actually, I probably just wouldn't even talk to her because I wouldn't really have much to say to her. Anyway, it's great to have you guys all here. There is a story that we're running out of time on, and I do want to get to it. It does relate somewhat to Letitia as well, and it's come up recently in the Irish Times here. This shadow Russian oil tankers that you're seeing off the coast in the Irish Sea, which actually is behind me. You can't see because it's so dark right now, but this is a big deal. They found actually 19 of these these vessels. So we can talk a little bit more about this tomorrow. It has to do actually with Panama as well. Panama is allowing some of these Russian oil tankers to change flags. And because they are trying to avoid all these sanctions and they're trying to get around, this is the workaround, they're coming through the Irish Sea. And they're showing Panamanian flags, which, you know, when Pete Hegseth was making a big deal about Panama and how we have to have a bigger presence there, he wasn't kidding. And it's actually in part all related to this. So we'll get into that a little bit deeper tomorrow. I want you to have a great afternoon and a great evening. Make sure you subscribe, share, like. We're going to keep this conversation going, as you know, tomorrow. Oh, you know what? Well, I'll do that one tomorrow too. I wanted to talk a little bit about Bitcoin, but we are seriously running out of time. So we'll get to that tomorrow. Thank you for being here, everyone, and we will talk soon.